Welcome to Biz Dev Live. My name is Cameron Toth, and I am so excited to bring you the amazing, the fabulous, the Clubhouse initiated, the marketing genius, the person that will help you get the finance you need for your business, the comedy duo partner with Trevor Curran, the amazing Linda Rey. We're going to get into all of the aspects of how she's building components of her business during the pandemic with YouTube videos, bringing money into her business. We're going to talk about making your marketing magic. We're going to get into all of that and more right after the Biz Dev theme.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.
Linda Rey is partners with Trevor Curran and Aurora Consulting. She's putting together a marketing course for insurance brokers because they need it, right? So she's amazing. I can talk all day about Linda Rey, but I want to get right into the interview. If you're tuning in live with us, I'm so appreciative. Show your love for Linda Rey by sharing this out, liking, commenting, and asking questions. The value of Biz Dev Live is that we can help you with your business in the moment. So if you have a marketing question, this is the time. Get it in, and we will specifically help your challenge or your issue. I am so excited. Make sure you hit that subscribe and bell button so you get notifications for the show. And without further ado, the amazing Linda Rey. Linda Rey, thank you so much for being on the show.
We should just end it now because let's go on top with that intro and your theme song, and I'm just loving the first 2.5 minutes of this show. So yes, let's do it.
So tell everybody what you're doing now. I know I gave a little bit of the introduction, and one of the things that sort of led me into just being a Linda Rey fan is there was a recent online event with Maggie Carey, and one of the things that just stood out, I'm not going to talk about anybody else, but I'm going to say that when Trevor Curran and Linda Rey put up their video, edited and put together by Linda Rey, it stood out amazingly as just something really well done, professional. When you talk about marketing, that's what it is, right? And so I know you've been able to translate that skill for marketing into actual dollars. And that's sort of been a big thing for me lately. I know there's a lot of people out there selling services, selling products. What I'm looking for when somebody's selling me a service is practitionership. I want to know that they're actually doing it, that it's actually working. So tell us about what you're doing, and then we'll kind of get into the methods, the mindset, the motivation. We'll get into
the alliterations. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. I love your show. I love what you're doing as well. And yes, Maggie was so kind to invite us to speak. And we spoke on the top 5 mistakes that business owners make, because I've been a business owner. And I do think marketing is magical. I believe that in my heart and soul because I have seen the results from it. So anything that I pontificate on is because I've experienced something with a positive result. That's why I get so excited about it. But my background is 35 years in the insurance business. I was 4. Okay, just let's do the math. Okay, and I've done every aspect of insurance. I was in a family business, so I say insurance was in my blood, but marketing is in my soul, because there's no, my mantra back from 1999 was there's no immediate gratification and a long-term strategy. And no one needs to be the best kept secret because people are looking for you to solve their problem. So that's why I get a little hung up too when people are afraid to sell or to broadcast their message, because you're solving problems for people. And so there's no reason to be shy about it. So for me, I owned an independent insurance agency. I sold half the company back to my sister. I wanted to start something new. I've reinvented myself, I think 3 times. And in fact, I've started over from starting over. I started over in 2017. And since 2017, I've already started something new. Trevor and I have a disaster financing business. We did not start a disaster financing business. It certainly wasn't on purpose. It was because of COVID. And so we have a business financing business. We help businesses find money when the banks can't help them. The banks have money, but sometimes they don't let go of it. So we wanted to help entrepreneurs who were looking to expand or buy another business or just, leveraging other people's money. And then COVID hit. We had about $3.5 million in the pipeline of loans, and that was flushed. And so we said, well, what are we going to do now? Well, let's just start update people every day on what's going on with the CARES Act, with stimulus, with EIDL, with PPP. Let's just stay relevant, and maybe at the other side of this, people will remember. So let's just stay relevant and give updates on what's going on in the inner workings of the financing. So we started doing that, and lo and behold, people started reaching out to us, asking us questions about what we knew. And we were sort of in the same boat, like, well, we're still learning too. But there were business owners trying to fight to keep their business alive, and they didn't have time or didn't want to figure it all out. And we said, well, we'll help you. And thus began our disaster financing business. We have now 80 clients, I think 83. And we've gotten about $3 million in funding that businesses wouldn't have gotten because they were declined. And we had to overturn that. They didn't know how to fill out the paperwork, so they were just not even going to try. So we helped. So we feel very, very fortunate. It's been a privilege to walk alongside some of these entrepreneurs who are fighting for their business. And I think we're all caught up, Cameron.
What's the things that make you tick? Like, outside of marketing and finance, why have you gone down that road? Why were you driven to kind of learn these skills? Why has this become a passion of yours?
Well, I think, I think there's the creative side of every one of us is sometimes it's buried down deep, and we're, maybe using the left side of our brain more. And I just love the creativity that is allowed with marketing. Marketing sparks the creativity of how you can share your story and share what you're doing. And so people understand what problem you're solving for them. You can do it in such a creative way with marketing, between video and graphic design. And listen, some of us, we don't know how to do some things, but those are just tasks that you can outsource and delegate if you know and have an idea of how you want to share your message. So, the pandemic, if we didn't learn anything from 2020, it was to branch out and figure out just how expansive we are with what we do and how we do what we do. So I think it's just a matter of being creative, getting creative.
Yeah. When I see you and I see this incredible passion for it, I'm just wondering where all the energy is coming from. How are you getting jazzed up? And I know
coffee. There's coffee, and Trevor made brownies yesterday.
All right, now I got it. All right, I got you now.
But where does it come from? I think we're going through a horrible time with a lot of things, a lot of different things. But, when I think it comes from being part of a business, starting a business, growing a business. I think the excitement is when you believe what you're doing, people, they want to be a part of that, and they want to, when people are smart enough to delegate and then they find somebody they can trust and that's you, what better feeling is there? I don't know. I mean, I don't have kids, so I can't say like I love, kids are when you have a family, that's like the most important thing. I get that, but it's also when you have people in your life that are so excited about what they do for a living and the work that they do. I don't know. It's just contagious to me. So
I think there's some people that, it's like, oh, I think about business a lot, and every conversation business comes up. Well, there's a reason for that, right? You're excited about, helping people. You're excited doing things. I mean, business comes up at my dinner table with the kids. So, and every conversation sort of leads back. And that's how you do this in business. And I'm like, yeah, well, I guess I should be talking about business. That's the sort of thing that I'm into. So let's kind of move on to, we're in an unprecedented time. Everybody's got a crash course in Zoom. So everybody knows how to do virtual now. We have this crazy new app called Clubhouse. I want to get into that. I want to get into, not only marketing so that we can help some folks, but also the idea, because I've talked to so many financial professionals, I can't really promote myself because of financial rules and regulations and blah, 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 which we know is not true, because financial companies advertise and promote themselves all the time. The very same companies that these folks are a part of. So at the very least, you could repost their advertisements and the stuff that they're putting out. I have no limit to the supply of newsletters, emails, promotional things in my chat box or in my email box, right? So I think that we got to throw that out. So it's just about the method, right? And the mindset to allow people to get them motivated and teach them those methods. So talk to us a little bit about that as a jumping off point, how you're helping folks that are in the finance industry really promote themselves. And talk to us about how you've done it for Aurora Consulting.
Sure. So I used to have my 6 and 63. When you put me up by myself, it's like, oh, where'd Cameron go? Like, bring him back. I want to talk with you.
Well, I just trying to make sure that people can see you.
I know.
And you're not a little tiny Zoom box like we're used to, right? So it's like, this is a show. So look into the camera. And this is something that's really important too. If you're shooting a video for folks, and this is great information for folks that, I think we're both fans of, like Denise Panza, who's doing a really great job of promoting our mortgage business on LinkedIn. And so, if you can capture that charisma through the camera. And so I'm actually not looking at Linda Ray at all right now. I'm looking into the little black dot.
Green dot. Yes, the green dot. Mine is green now because I got a new computer. I like actually how big my hand looks when I point at the camera. So I used to have my 6 and 63, and I understand completely the dilemma of, so funny story, when I had my 6 and 63, I had just started on Twitter. It was 2009. And the company that I was working with, where I had my 6 and 63 license, they received a cease and desist letter from someone in Colorado because I tweeted something that he sent around. Like, he had this publication and he sent it around, but I cited the source. So I cited the source and I put it in quotes. Like, I wasn't claiming this as my own. And they received a cease and desist, and the compliance officer called me. He was like, "Did you tweet something?" I was like, "I tweeted a lot of things." And he said, "Well, we got a letter about a specific tweet and you have to take it down." And I said, "All right, whatever. Like, I'm not like stuck on that." But he said, you know, Linda, with the marketing that you're doing, you may have to decide if you want to keep your license or keep doing the marketing. And at the time I owned an independent agency, and I was leaning more on the commercial line side. I was leaning more on the P&C side, and I wasn't really doing the financial planning anymore. It had been 10 years. And I said, well, it's an easy choice. I'm picking Twitter over you. I thank you so much. And I surrendered my license because it was ancillary at that point. So I understand exactly what's going on. But like you were saying.
Yeah, let me ask this question. Let me ask this question, because I think that's why we get so much pushback, right? So, and you had like the negative side of that story, which is you said, well, if they're going to prevent me. So I know that you're getting down a road, and hopefully you're getting to it. I'm wondering, you know, if you look back now and know that you could have kept doing it, or was it just an organizational thing?
Well, it was an organizational thing because it was one specific tweet, and it wasn't another. Like I had about a dozen different tweets from this guy who had this publication, and I cited all the sources. But this is this is my point. There are ways that wherever you have your license, there, like you had said, Cameron, there are ways. There's information that they create for you to repurpose and to publish, so that you are within your own guidelines. But the other thing too is, it is a little extra work. You do have to prepare ahead to let them know what you're doing. If you have to submit for approval, you do have to submit. So maybe there's a little extra preparation. But, you know, there's also things about what you...
Let me put this out, because I think one of the things that's great with social media management, let's say you're posting to Instagram, because that's your chosen place. Not where I would recommend. I would recommend LinkedIn and TikTok as places to go viral, as you know, and we'll get into that. But let's say you're going to Instagram. You can go to later.com right now, because I want to give some people some real tactical stuff, right? Later.com right now, and you can post 30 days in advance. And this is the thing that I would really recommend, because I think it's daunting, right? It's daunting to say to somebody, I want to post daily, and I got to do all of these things. Set up your Instagram thing, right? Put as all these posts together that you can put up for free on later.com for a month, using marketing from the company, and just lay it down in your employer's box and say, do you approve all these posts?
Right.
I guarantee you, if they see that you've put in the work and the planning and it all looks legit, at some point, somebody's going to say, stop sending this. You're good. Just stay within these guidelines and go.
Well, there's another aspect of this too. People most of the time, they're not looking for you to be so specific with the technical knowledge in the time that they're researching who to work with or who to hire. They want to know that they like you and that they relate to you, and that they, so there's a lot of things that happen in your life that have nothing to do with your business that people want to know about, because they want to feel like they know you. So by the time they come to you, if they haven't already decided that you're the person they trust and that they like, then they're going to talk through with you on your experience, which is where you can get into the technical stuff that you can't, share in a marketing capacity, because you can't talk about rate, or you can't talk about, the stock market or whatever. You don't have to do all that. There are a lot of other ways for you to share what you do and why you do what you do. So, that's going to be where, when you're actually talking to somebody one-on-one, when they're making their buy decision. So, but yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people spend too much time worrying about the thing that they think they shouldn't do because they're going to get in trouble, versus just prepare some content. And one of the things that we've done that has been spectacularly successful in the last 6 months is just go to YouTube and find out what people are searching for when it comes to what you do for a living, because it's already there for you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to get, so bionic busy with creating stuff It's there for you already. People are giving you what it is they want you to give to them. So
Linda, can you lay out the steps that you used, how you go on to YouTube and search for those terms?
yeah, so I start with the basic. I don't go on to YouTube. Well, YouTube, yes, sometimes, but Google, but since Google owns YouTube, I'll go on to Google, and it all started with, I think the most basic common question about your business, start there. So with us, it was, how do I apply for an EIDL loan? I put that in the Google, and then thus was like, then they expand other types of questions within the subject matter that you're searching for. And then all of a sudden I had a dozen questions that people have been searching for. And then we did 3-minute videos on them. And we created scripts for 2 to 3 minutes, and we batch recorded about a dozen videos and put them up on YouTube. By the way, I had been using YouTube for a year. We had 2 weekly shows, If Then Thursday and Finance Friday. And it was crickets, nothing, because I was treating my YouTube as if I was creating an email marketing campaign. And it's totally different. It's a different methodology when you're in YouTube versus how you create a subject line in your email. You don't do the same with your titles of your YouTube videos. It's completely different. So I got the TubeBuddy plugin, and it changed everything. And thus we ended up getting, we have a tiny little channel, but in the last 3 months, we had 300 organic new subscribers. They were just coming out of nowhere, and it was because they were finding our videos based on searching, based on my prep work for how I was going to craft these videos and this video marketing campaign. So yeah, it all started with one basic question that is a problem you solve in your business, and then we ended up having dozens we've done now. So that was the Advancing with Financing playlist we have in our YouTube. And we started that back in September, because when COVID hit, and this is the other marketing thing that I wanted to touch on, we did for 6 months, we did If Then Thursday and Finance Friday for 6 months, and nothing happened. Nobody found us, nothing. So then COVID hit, and so for 2 months we did not do any videos because we were paralyzed with what's going to happen. And we did the pandemic pivot with, like, what are we going to do now? How are we going to make money? We had 2 businesses that evaporated overnight on March 17th.
Right.
So after 2 months, we said, we got to start doing video again. And then we started WTF Wednesday, and we were doing WTF Wednesday every week. And then we went live with that because I got lazy with editing. And then I said, well, we got to switch it up again. So September, we started Advancing with Financing, and it all started with the one question: how do I apply for an EIDL loan? So whatever your business is, if it's like, so insurance, how do I buy business insurance? I particularly like business insurance versus auto and home, but that's just me as a licensed producer. So I would just start with one basic question, and Google is going to give you everything else that then you can get super granular and specific about various things in your business that are about your business.
I love that. Chris asked, and thanks for joining us, Chris. Thanks for watching. Chris is asking, any recommendations on easiest to use software for video editing?
So there's a couple things for me. I started, and I still, to this day, I'll just use the iMovie on my Mac. But that's just because I'm so fluent with how it works. I have Premiere Pro, which is Adobe, which is the 2.0 of video editing. But that's really complicated. But Chris, there's also Wave.video that has some souped up features that allow you to do some editing. There's one thing about, and I don't know if they've updated it since I got it last March, There's one thing about wave.video that I don't like, which is it doesn't allow you to truly clip out the, you know, the pieces of the video that you don't want. You have to have the video.
Jump cuts?
Yeah, the jump cuts. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. It doesn't really, unless it's changed, it doesn't really allow you to jump cut the way I do it with what we do. I like to take out the breaths and the silent spaces just to kind of keep it.
You, by the way, we have to get together because you do such a great job of that.
Oh, thank you.
And I still lost with it. And I'm trying to go back. And one of the things that's a struggle, and I talk about this in terms of operating a business and putting videos together for people that are trying to outsource this, is get really good at it, figure out how to do it, figure out the software, figure out how to do it, not so that you're going to do it every day, but so that you can manage other people. So that I love watching Gary Vee, and I love, and you'll see it sometimes, and I've consumed enough content that I've seen enough of like the back or the little off scenes where he's like, or you know, watching things live, and he does a little back and forth with folks, and they're like, "Oh, this is hard." He's like, "No, it's not." Like,
yeah, know, right.
He calls them on. Yeah, he calls them on their shit, and not that it's shit, but you know, the idea that, you know, we sort of get lost in like something being complicated or challenging. And I had somebody in my office that was doing Instagram for me, somebody that was younger, so very much on the level. And she wasn't a young kid; she was just younger than me, and she was saying, "Oh, well, I don't want to use an automation platform because, you know, that's not the best way to use the platform." And so for me, I'm like, I've done social media before, but I don't want to do it every day. I don't want to be lost in it and be having to create all these posts. And I was having her do it for me. So I was like, you need to, have you tried it? Have you used it before? You know, have you done it? And then lo and behold, I said, go look at some different softwares, spend some time. I'm going to pay you to do that. You know, save time for everybody in the long run. She found later.com, which I was recommending today, which, you know, at the time I knew Hootsuite and I knew a couple of different ones that were out there. This was something that, you know, really just made her job easier. She was able to put things up in advance, really strategize, plan. And then you can't be in the office every day, or at least you can't. I couldn't pay her to be in the office every day and afford that. So that makes sure that your strategy is going forward. And you can do that with your videos. You can do that with your posts for social media. But those technical tools are really great. And for free tools, I'll just add this before I throw it back to you, because I know you got stuff to say, Linda. But UCut on your phone for Android users. I know iMovie is a big Mac, but UCut is something that I've used to create TikTok videos, because you can use the platform of TikTok, but it's a little tough, especially if you do a longer video and you want to cut it down. So you can use UCut, and you can there's even features and different pieces in there. And in terms of like, I do use the pro version of UCut, but it was like something ridiculous, like $1.99. It's like one of those kind of apps, super useful. You can use that to create content for LinkedIn. You can use that to create content for TikTok, which I really encourage people to be on. And you can build that no trust factor that Linda Ray's talking about. Build that up. You don't have to talk about the financial details. You can just talk about how you're spending your Friday night, you know, certifying yourself and getting ready to serve your clients better. Hopefully that's not against any FCA, you know, any guidelines anywhere.
Well, I think again, people get hung up on I don't know how to do it. And, you know, if you're comparing yourself to someone who's already been doing a certain something for a year, and you're like, well, I don't know how to do that. It's like, you can't celebrate success if you don't experience the process and the progress that unfolds. Because the video that we did a year and 3 months ago or whatever is going to be totally different than the one that we did, you know, a month ago or a week ago. You know, you learn little tips along the way, and that's part of the progress. It doesn't mean that you should, you know, kind of disparage a poor quality of something that you did that before you knew how to do it. You just have to keep going, just keep moving forward with learning new stuff that will then result in a quantifiable result. I mean, we're in business to make a little bit of money. I know, there are certain people that they don't do it for the money, and that's awesome. I have bills to pay, so I like to make money. And, when you start seeing the success because people are trying to find you to hire you, they're not going to care that you didn't know how to edit the video or that you didn't use a certain tool to edit it. That's not the point. It's just being present. And one of the things about marketing is when things get challenging, that's when you have to do it even more, because you have to show up even more so when things are challenging. I did a presentation to a group, to a networking group, and they wanted me to talk about marketing during a crisis. And I basically just talked about 4 myths and mistakes of marketing during a crisis, which it was COVID, and it's still happening, right? And it was, that people don't, I don't have an audience. You wouldn't be in business if you didn't have an audience, What was the other one? I don't have an audience. I don't know. I can't, which platform to use. You just pick one. And there were a couple other, I can't remember because it was a year ago, but you have to show up even more so when if you have a fear, that means you're onto something, and go with it and phone a friend and talk through it. Because if something is stopping you and you have awareness to understand, like, all right, I'm triggered with fear about showing up, then phone a friend, get an accountability buddy, talk to somebody who's in marketing, and just, you have to sort of keep going. If you're in business and you want to pay bills and you want to make money and you want to do what you do because you love it and you love helping people, then you have to keep going with the marketing. You're muted.
Sorry, I got my 2020 theme song T-shirt that Denise Pants has sent me. It's out of reach. I'd show it off right now. The giving yourself permission to reach out to somebody for an accountability partner, for a mentor, for even a mentee, to sort of open yourself up for that is so huge. I think if we got one person watching this video over the next 10 years to just give themselves permission to reach out to somebody in their network that they think is killing it, somebody that's just doing it well, and not one person, but reach out to the 20 people that you think are amazingly awesome. I know from my time, it's being eaten up a lot of times. So it's if I told somebody no right now, it wouldn't be because I didn't want to help. I can't imagine myself saying no, but if I did say no, it wouldn't be because I didn't want to help. I just may not have the time right now. It just might not be a good moment for me. So, or maybe it got lost and I didn't respond because I got so many messages with the show and all different things that I'm going on. So don't think that one no or that one lack of response is judgment. It's not. It's just the idea that you need to reach out to a few people. And, I do the college and career thing. And it also applies to the job thing. You're out in the job search market. A lot of people lost positions or looking for positions. You don't want to apply to just one job and sit there and hope, right? You don't want to just apply to one college and sit there and hope. When I was going for the PPP thing, you don't want to go just to one bank and listen to what they say and say no, because I had, Citibank, which was just ridiculous because of the size of that organization. I don't mean anything to them, right? I went over to Apple Bank, which is my local, bank that I use for savings. And it's like, oh, you don't have a business account. What do you mean? I have a business savings account. It doesn't count. Okay. All right. And so I ended up going with a bank that, isn't even in my neighborhood really, because there's a friendly voice there. So it's just finding that person that is going to be receptive. And that's ideally what you want. That's the relationship that you're looking for. So you're not going to get that if you don't give yourself permission to reach out for it. Go back to the college thing just to sort of close the circle there. For a student that's applying to college, you don't want to just apply to one college and sit there and wait. You want to have people competing for your application, for you to be there so that you can say, well, this college gave me this financial package. Hey, what can you do for me? Because that's a big sort of piece in everybody's puzzle is, is college worth it? I think it is if you have the arbitrage on the finance thing, right? Does your kid have the grades? Does they have, and that carries over to so many different things. Is this workshop worth it? Well, what's the payoff versus what I'm paying? What am I going to get out of it? So if you're looking at things in that way, and you're comparing apples to apples in the sense of, I could go get something from somebody that is giving me this low price for this thing where they're not really going to help me, or I can work with a practitioner that's actually doing something that has worked for them and has shown how it can work for others. That's a big deal.
You know, there's a funny story about, so when I first got licensed for life insurance and I was with a financial planning firm, I had my first life insurance policy. I sold my first policy, and it was one policy. It was one policy, and I submitted it to underwriting. It was in underwriting for weeks because that's how life insurance works. And I was like, what's with this policy? What's with this underwriter? When am I getting my quote? When am I getting my policy? You know, when can I close this thing? And the manager at the office where I was, he said, you know, if you had more than one policy in underwriting, you wouldn't be so focused on what's not happening with it. And I was like, oh my God, I better go find more prospects and sell more policies so I'm not focused on the one policy. So, you know, I think, you know, I've done a lot of workshops and therapy and conferences and coaches and consultants about just psychology and human behavior and the human condition. And I think the thing about fear is, you know, when you're having it, when you become aware of it, then that's when you can start to conquer the things that are keeping you from celebrating the success of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, and new goals and new habits that we all set so that we can just continue to improve being the best that we can be. And you can't do that if you are not starting somewhere with something. So, you know, this is the year to, if you didn't start trying something new last year, there's always today and tomorrow to start something new, to just continue with the growth. I'm a personal development junkie, so I get a little kind of crazy with just, you got to try it. Just try something new. So.
Yeah, I love that. I think that for folks that are trying to get into this marketing space, you know, it's so complicated because people will throw so many things at you, right? You know, so many tools, so many softwares, so many different channels that you need to be a part of. You know, somebody tells you LinkedIn and TikTok, those are two completely different channels, and that can just be bewildering and hard to swallow right there. So why don't we lay this down in a very simple way? What should somebody do to start marketing themselves? And I think, you know, it all starts with the personal brand. I think that's what we've been talking about in terms of building the like, know, and trust. So how should people start building their personal brand online?
Well, I think, you know, one way to start is where you feel comfortable with, where people are that you can engage with. So, I mean, start with just picking one thing. So if you want to try LinkedIn, then you try LinkedIn. But if you know, or Instagram, whichever platform it is, if you're going to try to start to expand how you're engaging, pick a platform that you know where there are people that are part of your circle. So like when we did last Friday, when we did the Master Connections, one of the tips that I had given was reaching out and engaging with your strategic alliances. So depending on what type of business you are, you know, for insurance or financing, our strategic alliances are CPAs and attorneys, sometimes real estate brokers if they're in the commercial space. But anyway, if you know people in those verticals, engage with them, go to their posts and engage with them there. And then that'll start the trickling effect of how you then will see more content to engage with the content and inspire you to create your own content and then share that content with the people that you're engaging with. I think we're all wired to connect. That's what human beings do. We connect. So that's what you have to do when you go online. You have to engage with people so that you can, and then people will start to, oh, what do you do? Right. Oh, you know what? I know somebody who needs whatever it is that you sell. And it just will happen organically. It can't not happen. If you start engaging and connecting, it's going to spark other people to notice you.
Yeah, I love that. And I think looking at what other people are doing, whether it's on LinkedIn or TikTok or whatever your favorite channel is, I think that's such great advice to just say, okay, this person's got a lot of connections. How have they set up their profile? You don't need to recreate the wheel. You can sort of look at what somebody else has done, especially if they're in your space. I love TikTok in particular because, and I'm horrible at TikTok. I want to say this for everybody that's like, oh my goodness, I don't want to be on TikTok, and I'm absolutely horrible at TikTok. I'm horrible at getting posts, even though I know I should be posting there. My posts aren't that fabulous or interesting in my mind. Maybe they're awesome to somebody else, so that's why I've hit the post button, because I don't want to make that choice for folks, which I think is a really big deal when you do marketing, because if you have a perfectionist side of you and you're waiting for it to be perfect, it's never going to be perfect, right? But looking at what other people are doing, and TikTok is that platform where you can go and see what other people are doing, and the platform is built around like using other people's soundtracks and following memes. So if somebody doing something, you can do exactly the same thing side by side in their video. That's what the platform is built around. So what a great place to just sort of,
and that's proof right there. That's proof to the point. Okay, for the proof of concept people out there, if that isn't the proof that you need to start marketing for your business and bringing it to the next level, I don't know what it is. That platform, like you said, it's made for you to just copy and mimic and mirror what's already been done. So just do that. And to the point of me rambling that I've been rambling, it all started with 10 minutes that I took to go to Google and find the types of questions people are asking about my business. It all started with 10 minutes, and then it started to snowball. But it was an enjoyable snowballing ride because we started attracting people who wanted to hire us. So, it starts with 10 minutes. And then that will be the creativity that's sparked and the inspiration to put the effort in and do the work with the marketing and have fun with it.
I love that. I mean, there's so many different strategies, just commenting on whatever the hashtag is the day. If you're on LinkedIn, which I think is really, I think for most professionals, most of the audience on this show, that's where folks should be spending a lot of their time on LinkedIn. You can put posts on there and it'll go to second and third connections. I think I've added something ridiculous, like about 500 people in the last 8 weeks. It's just crazy the way that you can grow on that platform if you're consistent with it, if you're focused with it, if you're really trying to do that. And it doesn't take a massive amount of hours a day. It just takes, literally 13 minutes a day. We had Lorraine on the panel with Steve Spiro on Friday, and I completely agree with that. I will go in if I got a specific post. There's days where I spend a lot of time on it because there's building out of events and different things that I'm using the platform for. So that stuff is time consuming, but the actual messaging and commenting on a post, sometimes I'll be waiting online someplace and I'm just popping in, and I will go on to LinkedIn and do a comment on a post, because that versus doing something on Facebook or just watching a video may turn some results for me, right? It'll prove to do something for me. And because I know that, I feel like it's a better use of my time and not just a social media suck.
Just start with 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. I mean, listen, I happen to know a lot of marketing people because I study marketing. I consider myself a marketing person, even though I'm not, really marketing consultant per se, but I do consider myself a marketing expert. And so that just happens to be where I know a lot of people in that space. But if you just start with 10 minutes, it's shocking how much you can get done with just starting small to grow. So
yeah, I love that. And I love the idea too, that you have something to share. I was on a Clubhouse group last night, and we were talking about building up workshops and putting out things. And so I think a lot of folks, the reason they don't put a post up or share their information or share their know-how, or even just share something about something going on in their own life, is they feel like it's not special enough, that there's nothing unique about what they're saying, that somebody has already said it before. First of all, just the fact that it's coming from you versus somebody else, because there are people that already know, like, and trust you. So that's a big deal, right? Because if you tell me, Linda, you got this brand new software, or oh wow, there's this new app, Clubhouse, you should check it out. Maybe somebody else said it, but I didn't take it seriously. But now that you said it, I'm like, oh,
right.
You know, figure that out.
Even when I started Twitter back in 2009, and I didn't know anything about it, I didn't know. 2009, my marketing was basically going to Chamber of Commerce meetings, Rotary, just business organization type meetings. It was very, 1999, right? But so I started Twitter, and the first thing I did was, let me see what other insurance brokers are tweeting, and what are they talking about, and what are they posting, and how are they doing it, just to kind of see as an example. And then that's when I ended up having 13,000 followers, all because I was politely stalking my competition. So I'm not saying anything that's completely and totally magical and profound. It's just start with 10 minutes a day doing something, and it's amazing the results that will come from that.
And consistency, right? Because that's what I heard just now. Consistency,
yeah.
I was on Twitter early, and so because I don't really use Twitter a lot, but I was on it early, so I have 3,000 people following me on Twitter, but I was never consistent with it. I'd go to an event, I'd tweet a whole bunch, I'd get a whole bunch of people, but then I wasn't doing anything in between.
Twitter's changed a lot though too. I mean, I actually don't have the same account that because that was the agency account. I started a different account, but Twitter's changed a lot since I started. But I don't know. It's still one of my favorite platforms because it's a quick, easy way to hang out and communicate with people. But you were talking about Clubhouse, which kind of reminds me, it's like an audio version of Twitter, because it's just, and it goes away. So
it's coming back into Twitter because you can only connect two types of accounts to Clubhouse, which is a Twitter account and an Instagram account. I think most of the people on the platform, I don't know what the world's obsession with Instagram is. I just don't see it. But I know a lot of people like and dig Instagram. And so that's their platform of choice. So I think, and especially because of the whole link in the bio feature. So that's how you can really drill down and connect with people and, provide links to your YouTube or your digital business card, like 10K, Sean Lashley's card that we use.
I love stories. I wasn't a Snapchatter, so I know Instagram basically kind of like mimicked the Snapchat stories feature. I love stories. One of the things that I think Instagram presents from a marketing standpoint as a marketing opportunity is, I think it gives you every type of media that if you like video, it's there. If you like short videos, it's there. If you like stuff that disappears after 24 hours, it's there. If you want long form video, it's there. Short form video, it's there. I think it gives people a quick practicing platform. If you're shy about video, then just do 15 seconds and it'll go away in 24 hours. But I used to not like video, and now I don't even mind watching myself on video when I have to watch, now we have over 100 videos on YouTube. I used to hate seeing myself on video. The more you do it, the more all that disappears. It goes away. You're not, as obsessed with the things that you don't like about whatever. It goes away. But you have to do it. So that's why I like Instagram. You can do 15-second videos and they go away. You can do a minute video and it goes away. It's cool. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's where it comes. Like, you're saying that, and I'm still in my head where like I just don't love the platform, and I don't necessarily. It's not that I don't see that people are, there's people that are using it that are incredibly successful, and I think if Instagram is your home, I was just talking to a guy last night in Clubhouse, right, on about his Instagram. He's got a travel account. And, he's got all the beautiful travel photos. And like, if that's what you're about and that's something that works for you and the platform works, you got a ton of followers, like that's amazing. So I think the wonderful world that we live in and people can talk about the moment, the political situation, all of the challenges, but we are living in a place where there is a platform for you. There is a soapbox for you. There is the ability for you to communicate your message and get it across. So what are you waiting for? Get it done.
Right.
Back to the Twitter thing, Twitter's experiencing this resurgence because it is something that you can tweet out the Clubhouse rooms, and reminds me very much of early Twitter with Clubhouse. I love that you made that.
Well, one of the things too that I'll say about Instagram as an example of testing out different things that work and don't work is, for example, like I love stories. I think the Instagram platform for stories is so incredible with the stickers and how you can like dress it up and just make it so textural and, fun to watch. But my stories don't get the same number of views as a Reels. Now, Reels, you can do 15-second Reels or 30-second Reels. And I can put a story up and have 28 people that have seen it. I'll put a reel up and maybe 150 people have seen it. So that's what I mean too. Like, you have to test out and experiment stuff, and whatever language you want to use that make it sound like, using the word experiment instead of like feeling like you tried something and it didn't work. That doesn't sound and feel as good as, well, I tried it and I, tested it out and I got a little better result over here than over here, so I'm going to go over here. That's how it works, I mean, I love stories, but I'll get more attention on my Reels, and I don't even like to do Reels, which is a whole nother story, right? Because if I get more views on Reels, why wouldn't I want to do Reels? I just personally think the Reels is clunky trying to get the clips, and how you do that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that sort of turns me off with the Instagram platform is that I can't use it. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but I can't really utilize it from my desktop the same way I can, say, let's say, LinkedIn. And TikTok is the same way, right? You can't really upload it. And actually, because of Clubhouse, my wife has an iPad. I didn't have it. I just bought a little cheap version iPad. Thank you. And so now I'm like, oh, this is a little bit of a easier device to like share things on and move things from one place to another. So now I can see where maybe I can, manipulate this whole Instagram and TikTok thing a little bit more from this platform. It's still not my computer, but it's a little bit easier on iPad where you can sort of get to stuff, because like I love Canva.com, but don't ask me to use Canva.com on my phone. I'm like, what? Where do I know?
I'm the same way. And the thing too is it is frustrating because you'll have, so Instagram with stories, it's portrait mode versus YouTube is your horizontal videos versus your landscape videos or whatever, landscape versus portrait. And that's, that to me is, again, it's part of that playing around and learning new stuff. I can't do my YouTube video and then make it into a great story because it's horizontal and it's not portrait. So then I'll have to do a clip that's portrait, and then that makes it, you're optimizing the real estate of that particular platform. But that's just, you just have to play around and see what works and see what fits and do more of that.
Yeah, we haven't figured it out for the videos yet, but for the images, one of the really cool things from a branding perspective and from a content creation perspective on photos and images that you put together on Canva, they have that resize feature. And so you can take something that is a LinkedIn post size, resize it to be a YouTube thumbnail or vice versa, right? And I do that pretty often now because I'm promoting out some of these videos, right? So I'll take that YouTube thumbnail, resize it to be a LinkedIn post or an Instagram post. And so you can just
Pinterest,
it just brings it right over and makes it, optimizes the size. And then you're just moving things around to make it fit the dimensions. Really, really great hack for folks. And I'm pretty sure that's a part of the free version of
No, it's definitely. I have
the paid version to know what comes with the free and what doesn't, but I think that's part of the free version of Canva, which you can take advantage of.
I'm on the pro version, but I think with the free version you can still resize. I mean, I think with every video, I have 6 or 7 different sizes that I make that thumbnail so that I can then post it to Pinterest and stories and Google. Don't forget to be posting on your Google My Business because hello, it's Google, right? And so you want to optimize your search engine just organically by posting on Google My Business. So get your Google account set up for your business. Pinterest is underrated.
I got to get BizDev Live set up on Google My Business. I don't think I have. I have my staffing, but I don't think I've ever set up BizDev Live, so I got to do that.
Yeah, and don't forget, Pinterest is underrated. Pinterest is not just for recipes. Pinterest is a search engine. So if you search something, notice that a result will be from someone's Pinterest site. So, I mean, I'm not doing food, fashion, or fitness, but I will post on Google and Pinterest because those are search engines. Facebook is not a search engine. I'm not like totally a fan anymore of Facebook. I mean, I know it's important and most engagement happens with Facebook, but I'm really focusing on Pinterest, YouTube, Google My Business, but those, and LinkedIn. I mean, they all serve a purpose, but even with stories, LinkedIn has stories now, Twitter has stories now. It's hard to keep up with all of it.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up something because I was in another clubhouse room, and this is the value. I was like at 3 a.m. in the morning, but I couldn't jump off of this thing. So I was taking down notes, and was talk about Pinterest, right? So there are some Pinterest users that literally have millions of followers. So an easy way to go and find like the folks that are pinning stuff that have millions of followers, find the image that they have. Hopefully this is something related to your business. Do a better image of that same information, infographic, whatever it is. Take that same image, go create your own image that maybe carries some of that information in a better way, right? Mm-hmm. Whether you can create that yourself or go to Fiverr and spend a little bit of money, $5, $10, $20 for somebody to create an image with that information. So you're just doing the mimic kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Take that, post it on your website, go to Pinterest, tag this person with everything in those posts. They'll likely swap it out because they're going to go with the better image, and then suddenly you are hanging on the coattails of one of these Pinterest millionaires in terms of followers that are promoting your image and your website out. I thought I was like, I haven't done it yet, so I'll tell you when I do it, and I'll make sure I post about it. But I
like that hack because I will tell you this. I tested around with Pinterest, and to keep up the volume of views and search possibilities, you really do have to post legit about 30 times a day, which, there's an app for Pinterest. Tailwinds, I think, is one of the premier apps for posting on Pinterest. But I mean, 30 pins a day is an incredible amount of content. It's an incredible amount. And there are hacks when it comes to Pinterest. But so I was pinning maybe like just for about a month, I was pinning like 10 pins a day to see. And it was like I went from 500 or 700 views in a month to 13,000 views. But then I stopped and was only doing it once a day, and it plummeted. So Pinterest is very, very interactive. Like you have to be always on it. But if that's the place where you get business and you sell and you can have quantifiable results, you're going to do that there for sure. But it's just a matter of figuring out how you can manage your time with the content and the platforms.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we've burned through this hour, Linda Ray. I had a lot of fun chatting with you. Hopefully,
thank you so much for inviting me, and I love talking about marketing, and I just because it works. So 10 minutes your Google questions, your basic questions, the problems you solve for people, you will have a marketing campaign yourself.
So I don't know if you're breaking up for other folks, but you're starting to break up for me. So I'm going to let people know it's LinkedIn link for Linda Ray is down below. If you're on Facebook, it's off to the side. Connect with Linda Ray. I'm so excited that you came on the show again. First time was with Trevor, so we'll make sure that video is linked to this one afterwards. So grateful for you sharing your information. As they say, as the kids are saying on Clubhouse, I think we dropped some gems today, particularly Linda Ray dropped some gems. So I am so excited to bring that to you. Please connect with Linda Ray. She's an extremely caring and helpful person, and I know you'll get the value there. And with that, Linda Ray, if you'll say goodbye to everybody, I will play us off with the BizDev theme.
Thank you. Bye.
BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time.